Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm Larry Weidel, and let's get started. I am back with R.J. Robert Wagner here in Aspen, Colorado, and we're talking about his career and lessons from, how many years has it been, R.J.?
You know, Larry, I just celebrated my 90th birthday.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're still working.
Yeah, I'm still working. So it would be, a little over 70 years.
70 years. And how do you feel at 90?
I feel absolutely fantastic. I feel very good at night, and I also, I feel so blessed, and I just feel I've been given such a wonderful life, and I'm so grateful for it. I live truly in gratitude, as I told you.
Let's talk about relationships. One thing that you have a tremendous, since you're in a business that you love and enjoy being in there, you got a tremendous appreciation for the other people that have been successful in that business. Talk about relationships and what you've, some of the real powerful lessons you learned from people who were already successful and maybe you're still friends with today.
Larry, I was thinking about that the other day, and I think about it actually all the time, but it came really very apparent to me. I was honored at the Lone Pine Film Festival up in Northern California, where they made so many great movies, great westerns, and it was a wonderful place and still is. Great people, and they have this film festival. And at the film festival, they ran a picture that I was in with Spencer Tracy called Broken Lance. And I hadn't seen it for a long time. We were in a very nice theater. I was very close to the screen. I could see it. We had wonderful seats, and I was thinking as it was running, and I've seen it many, many times, and it's my favorite movie, really, or one of them. And I was thinking that what that picture did for me, because I was able to meet Spencer Tracy, who took he liked me very much, and he thought that I had possibilities to go onward with my career, and he asked me to be in the next picture with him called The Mountain, of which he gave me co-star billing above the title, and it took me out of the whole, being just another young actor in Hollywood. He gave me my break. I went to Europe with him, the first time I'd ever been in Europe, and we made the picture in France, and at Paramount, and I met some wonderful people during that time. But at the time, Larry, when I was in the film, I didn't realize that this picture was going to do that much for me. That this was going to be such a stepping stone again, an opportunity for me to go on and be taken out of just being another good-looking guy in Hollywood and doing war movies. This was a real big break for me, and I was forever grateful to him. And he was just such a wonderful man. I was a pallbearer at his funeral, and I just admired him so much. And it opened up a lot for me. It opened up so much for me. I can't tell you.
And that's one thing that I try and get people to think about, and that is, if you're in a project, finish it with a bang. Don't plan to just retire once you get through it. Because finishing opens up incredible opportunities that never appear to the people who don't get across the finish line. It's kind of like when you climb to the top of a mountain, you can see views that other people might have been telling you about, but when you see them with your own eyes and you see other possibilities of places you can go, all of a sudden now you own those possibilities. You know, they become real to you. And by going out there and stepping up to where you starred in a movie, you had that, made that breakthrough. This seems like one of those situations that, like you said, you didn't know it was going to have that kind of impact.
No, I didn't. I didn't realize it at the moment. And, you know, that's something, I think that happens to a lot of people. They don't realize, you know, at that time, you know, a relationship, you know, you meet somebody, you don't know whether, you know, where it's going to take you and where are you going to, it's just amazing, isn't it? Life and how you deal with it and how it affects you and where you go. I mean, it's a miracle, isn't it?
Yeah. But you've been very generous about how you were treated and this, that, and the other. But a lot of things in life where your life is determined when people are not nice to you. You know, it doesn't fall your way. And you said I highlighted a statement you made. You said, I've been very fortunate, and I think it's largely because I was determined. You know, basically you made a decision yourself. I was determined to be a working actor with the emphasis on working. I just kept going to the plate and swinging. It didn't matter whether reviews were great or terrible, whether the films and shows were successful or unsuccessful. I just kept showing up. And some actors go into a depressive shell when something doesn't work, as if a critical or commercial failure is somehow a reflection on them and their ability. And I've never believed that.
Yep. That's what I believe.
Yeah. And so the one thing that you've told yourself is you can't control what happens to you, but you can control your reaction to it. And your reaction is a result of the decision you made early on is I'm just going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's true, Larry. And I also think that, you know, nobody has any control. You know, that when you think you can control something, you can't really control it, you know. I don't feel. You come back to this theme again. Another place you said time, and the key factor is time. Things can change in a minute. I keep telling people that the prime factors are time, listening, and the refusal to do anything other than keep going. That's it. You gotta keep going, Larry. You gotta keep going.
You know, I remember Bob Dylan. You know, he had his biggest hits early on, but he's never stopped touring and putting out albums. And I think in the around 2005, he put out an album, like acoustic folk album, that got amazing critical reviews. And when I talk about this fairly frequently, it comes up fairly frequently, because you know he's another legend in the music business. And
have you interviewed him? Have you had him on your podcast?
I have not gotten Bob yet. He's very elusive. He's very hard to get. My brother knows him real well. But
tremendous talent.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
But they asked him, they said, you know, how did it feel in the recording studio when you're recording this? You know, did you know that you really had something special and was going to be a big hit? He said, well, we didn't know what we had, but we went in and recorded it anyway.
Yeah.
And I remember a similar story of a lady came up to Steve Martin on the street and said, you know, that last movie, I usually like your movies, but that last movie, that one wasn't too good. And he goes, well, I just made another one. Maybe you'll like it.
He is a great talent, isn't he? Boy,
sure.
Steve Martin, he is really talented.
And in a lot of different ways. And so acting and comedy. But as you move forward, what do you get the most enjoyment out of? Why do you? Is it just continuing to get the enjoyment from working?
Well, I really love what I do, you know, and it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a miracle about how it all happens, you know, the script, the actors, the director, and it's kind of a miraculous sort of thing when it works. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy very much being with the actors, and they're very respectful of me these days. They look up at me and say, "Hey, what was it like when you did this picture with Jimmy Cagney? And what was it like when you worked with Barbara Stanwyck? And what was it like?" They're very interested in those days, in that time, in that era. And I was very fortunate to be a part of it, and be involved in it.
And how do you out of it? But you keep moving forward. How do you keep yourself fresh, and how do you keep your contacts out there? I mean, is it just a matter of waiting for your agent to get roles, or are you staying in touch with people? And because as soon as you stop anything, it's amazing how quickly people forget you. They say that's the story of the professional athlete. The minute you quit, you're forgotten. And it seems
I feel that that's something. That's something that I haven't. I'm not. That active anymore in town. I'm not in production now because it's just changed a bit. I don't have any. I had one story I've tried to get off the ground a little bit, but the business has changed so much that I find myself, there's not a lot of scripts hitting the door. You know what I mean?
Right. I've got a note here from that you talked about the movie Broken Lands.
Yes.
Yeah. You talk in the book about, I'd been under the illusion that when you became an actor by practice, and I thought it was like learning to play golf or tennis. You go to the pro, let them teach you, and then it took me a while to realize I had to learn to use myself to get to where I needed to go, and learn to get out of my own way. Talk about that.
Right. Yes. Well, that's I just kind of felt that because that's what if you wanted to learn how to play tennis, you went to a pro. If you wanted to learn how to play golf, you went to a professional, and you learned from those guys. You learned, they gave you everything they could give you. And I thought, well, if you wanted to be, a good actor, you went to the best pros, to the people that could really help you. And I studied a lot. I went to New York, and I was in a lot of different classes, and I was constantly going to coaches and having people help me, and I still do. If I get a character that's really good, like with when I did the picture with Mike Myers, I worked with a man called Tom Todoroff on that character of number 2, and we kind of brought some things to it, but Mike really wrote it for me. Now there is a break. There's a break for you. I did Saturday Night Live, and Mike was on the show, and he wrote a couple of the skits. I played a gay nurse, and I played a guy that went out with this wonderful woman and ate food that spilled all over me. But whatever it was, he saw something in me that a comedic sense that was right for number 2, and they wrote number 2 for me. When that hit the door, I thought, oh my, what an opportunity this is. So I try to use everything to answer your question. I went to professional people to help me, get there. Most actors do that, they have a coach. But, I was always looking for more, something that can give me something that I could use and make it fresh, because you do it once, that's it, it's over. You do it twice, you can't go back and recapture it. It's all in the moment.
It's all in the moment, and it's like photography in the sense when you shoot a shot, you're shooting something that's never going to happen again. And you can,
right.
And you go and you get that image. You can go back. I've got some of my photography. I don't know if you ever go over to Poppycock's and eat breakfast or lunch, but all the photography in there is mine. And
it is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all of that's mine. And I've gone back to a lot of those places again and again, and trying to get maybe a better picture of the same scene. It's like, no, that one's gone.
Yeah, that moment is gone. How long have you been doing the photography for a long time?
Yeah, pretty much all my life, but last 10 years I've done more of it. And by the way, I've got a gallery. I've got to invite the two of y'all over to my gallery on East Hyman.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah,
And isn't it amazing today that you can take a picture on your phone and send it to somebody, and they've got it a minute later?
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
remember the days when we used to take all of the Kodachrome and get
Right.
Oh my God. Isn't that amazing? And the quality is very, very good, I think.
Absolutely. And that brings up another thing of when you work, you're showing up on a new scene, you're creating something new, a new character with a lot of new people. And how do you go about settling into your groove and getting into your rhythm, a successful rhythm when you're in a new project? You show up, you got to, like you can't just go through the motions. You have to create something that's authentic and real, So you got to be comfortable
Right.
when you're doing that. And how do you get yourself into that kind of rhythm or into that zone in so many different things?
Well, there's a lot of people that like I can go. Let's bring it up to date. Like with NCIS, they write the script, they have the characters. You have your character in the background with my character. I know it pretty well. They have a table read, and from the table read, you start to try to get the moments that you think are going to be important for that character and for the scene, and you rehearse it, run it a couple times. You rehearse it with the people. They're all available, and you've got a director. They're usually very good, and you've got two producers and writers, and everybody's going for the same moment, for the quality, or whatever it might be that they are trying to make you realize at that time between two actors, three actors, four actors, whatever. I mean, it's fascinating how it all works. And when it works, it is magic. It's magic when it works.
And do you see a lot of difference from? It sounds like sports where you're doing your practice, you're doing your warm up, you're doing your pregame, and then now it's showtime. Do you see a big difference when I used to do show jumping, and you could do warm up in the ring and outside before you went in, and the horse is knocking all the rails down, and it's just terrible. And then you go in, and then you wind up winning the class.
Yeah.
Somehow all the airs came out in the before you got in the ring. Do you find?
Isn't that so exciting?
Yeah.
Oh.
And did you have? I guess you've had a lot of experiences that kind of things.
Well, yeah, I have, and sometimes you think it's there, sometimes you think it's going to work, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't work. Maybe there's too many people involved with it. Maybe they overstated it. There's so many possibilities of it going in a negative direction when it could go in a positive direction. That's why it's magic when it all happens. It's like with jumping a horse. You can have a champion, and you take him into the ring, and you come up to that fence, and boom, he knocks one over.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, how can I pick that up?
Yeah.
But in our business, you can go back and try it again.
Yeah. In a performance thing, people don't realize in a performance arena, there's so many incredible variables. When it actually works, the reward is greater than whatever paycheck they cut for you. Don't you believe?
I do believe that very much so, Larry.
And
very much so.
And also the thrill. I mean, in terms of building relationships that last over a lifetime, you're talking about you with Spencer Tracy and a Broken Lance, and then he gave you the lead in the Mountain. When you go through those things, that's when relationships really build by pulling off some kind of great achievement together, and then nobody can ever take those things from you.
No, they can't.
I have to knock this episode off. We've gone long enough, but I want to come back and talk to you about that and creating those special moments and the reward and payoff of that. And so I really have enjoyed talking about relationships and some of the process you've been through and your mindset.
Yeah, well, I thought you'd kind of like that.
Yeah. I'm going to look forward to doing this again. So thanks so much, RJ.
Oh, you're welcome, Larry. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of $1 Million Mastermind with me, Larry Weidel. If I've helped you in any way, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. For more information like this, listen to our other $1 Million Mastermind episodes and check out my Weidel Academy YouTube channel and visit us on WeidelOnWinning.com. I'm the $1 Million Mastermind, and until next time, go, go, go.